What's going on, guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we do our best to be the bridge between our fellow real estate investors, entrepreneurs alike, and the cryptocurrency world, because crypto is the best opportunity over the next year and nothing's even close. So welcome along on the journey. We always enjoy having you guys on the show on Open Mic Friday. So be brave. Love for you to come up today. Got lots of cool things to chat about. Corey, take it away.
Absolutely. Corey Geary here. And good morning, Paulsicans, or good afternoon, or wherever your guys at. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate your service. You guys are what make the show, where we're going to be using cryptocurrencies, that wealth creation tool, and using some real world assets like real estate as a wealth preservation tool. And we're just having an absolute blast being on this journey with you guys, where we're in the cusp and beginning stages of what I think to be a massive bull run. In fact, I'm going to call it, I've already called it a few times on the show, that bottom is in again on Pulse Chain. I could be totally wrong. I mean, there could be a whale to come in and smack it down. Mr. What's his name? The guy who was in the movie. He's not in the movie no more, but he could come in and smack the price back. He could smack the price down in one sell order, and that's fine. But I do believe, for my money and me personally, bottom is in. Doesn't mean we're going to shoot straight up tomorrow. That means that we're probably going to head sideways for a while. We did actually a little comparison on our show last week where we saw the bottom. The last time bottom was in, it ran sideways for like 160 or 170 days. So these blue chip big layer ones, or that they don't move up like a freaking meme coin overnight, right? You're going to have some patience for some that really long-term sustainability growth in the ecosystem. And I'll tell you one thing, Dane, that could really make that euphoric growth happen, give us that extra maybe 5 to 10x in the top of the bull run, would be a Richard Heart wallet sacrifice. And before all you guys come on here and be like, no way I would ever do that, you are speaking from the bear market, red candles, that feeling of just despair. I've lost all my money, that icky feeling of sacrifice. And the times will change when you have massive green candles and your 100K portfolio turns into $1 million, or maybe even a 50K portfolio turns into $1 million. You're going to be thinking differently about an RH sacrifice on the wallet, in my honest opinion. Now, me personally, I'll give you my personal feedback on what I would do. So I would sacrifice a little bit of money, not very much. I would not go nearly as heavy as I went on PulseX. Jeez, if I could take that move back, that would be, I have a little of that bear market ick from the PulseX sacrifice.
PTSD, yeah.
PTSD. I have that. So then I would put a little bit in because I'd want that passport stamp, right? Like on my wallet, saying I participated for it, saying I was there, I gave some money. Maybe just in case the thing goes and does a good run right out of the gate, I'd want a little bit of money in, but I would not go nearly as heavy as I went last time. Not even close. I would just want that passport stamp more than anything for the wallet. And then when the wallet's released, man, I go buy the dip. We haven't seen any sacrifices sustain their value at any length of measure. I mean, I think we saw Pitius, they did okay. We saw like Fame and Fiat, they held their value okay. We saw Time, the internet money wallet, we saw them do okay. And there might be one or two more that I'm not thinking about, but I'd say about 95% of them all got smoked. Now, if you were a Pulse Chain whale, you still did okay, because even the Pulse Chain whales were at a cost basis of like decimal 4 zeros and a 4. And so I feel like if you were a heavy Pulse Chain sacrificer, you did okay. But the heavy PulseX sacrificers, nope, not much. And all the other sacrifices that came therefore after all went to crap. Some are still remain to be unseen. I wish the win-win sacrifice would do something. That's the last one that I'm in that I'm looking forward to coming out. I didn't put a lot in, put a couple grand. One of the biggest complaints they were saying is they were waiting for the Oracle from Liquid Loans, and it seems like Liquid Loans might not be giving us that Oracle. It's unfortunate. I wish some other team would step up to the plate and build what we need for a community oracle. I would love to see that happen. And maybe we will see that happen here in the coming, months. But in the meantime, most sacrifices haven't done crap. And, doesn't mean that they won't be up in profit when the time comes. Yeah, with the bull run, some of these might actually make us some money. But, it'll be interesting to see. Plus, Dane, another thing you got to think about is if you have retail coming in, you got all these new money, these new wallets coming in into Pulse Chain, and he does a sacrifice. Well, the guys didn't participate in PulseX. They didn't participate in Pulse Chain. They didn't participate in liquid loans. They didn't participate in Fiat. They didn't participate in all these sacrifices that we saw, these ICO raises. All the new money will FOMO into the new wallet sacrifice. That is my speculation. I could be wrong. I'm just a dude on the internet. This is never financial advice, but this is Open Mic Friday. We're here for you guys. I would love to see what you guys think of this.
I'd like to share. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear frank conversations. The man, the myth, the legend who has been running the sickest mastermind, one of the sickest masterminds that I know of since I've been in the Pulse Chain community. Man, we appreciate your service, sir. Thank you for coming on our show today.
Thank you. That's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a good ride.
It has been. Boy, has it ever.
Yeah. It's funny. The standing joke about the sacrifices is, a lot of us have kids, right? And you go to Chuck E. Cheese and you go, buy $20, $50, $100 worth of tokens so your kid can go play the games, and you go play them with them and that. And then you come back and you turn that $50, $100 into about $1 worth of tokens that you can trade. You can trade your wins in to get like some candy or maybe a little basketball or something.
Dude, you're hitting the nail on the head. This is great.
It's the experience. It's not what happened. You enjoyed the experience. So it's really, that's what the sacrifices have, come down. Was it a good experience?
Right. If that's the case, I'm okay with that. And I'll go through the experience, but instead of maybe of $100,000, maybe I put $500 in. And like I chill with you guys on the experience with my $500.
Well, the proof is in the pudding right now, right? We don't know what it's going to end up being, but
we don't.
All of them they've all been, it hasn't been great. I mean, I guess you could say that the silver lining is that a lot of people have gotten airdrops of certain tokens. Hopefully those tokens will go well. I mean, I think we've all learned in a lot of ways, we kind of bought the top when we sacrificed.
Especially PulseX.
Yeah, especially PulseX. Everybody,
Pulse, if you were a big enough wallet with Pulse, you're still in profit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it's an experience. It hasn't turned out the way we all intended it would, but hopefully it will. And everybody's been dollar cost averaging within the ecosystem most likely.
I hope so. The believers, the strong believers have been.
Yeah. So, but that's part of it, I mean, that's part of being in crypto. So,
yeah.
But the funny thing is
a couple of scenarios that I think could make a sacrifice like this make it interesting. So, like, here's a couple of scenarios. So the first is that you actually smashed it if you rode the hex wave, you sacrificed big, and you got a good multiplier bonus. So it saved you from the bear market, and you had the opportunity to sell some of these pumps. So not only did you get the bonus from hex, but you also got additional appreciation with your money just hanging out. And once again, you had to get a pretty good multiplier bonus for that to be the case. But man, and then you could have sold on some of these pumps and you're chilling. So there is one big benefit there if you sacked big enough that it did save you from the bear market. And
at our expense.
At everyone else's expense, true. At everyone else's expense, but it put you in a good position.
Sure.
So there's that to consider. If you put a group together and you sacrificed as a group, you could get a real nice multiplier bonus if something like that were available again. So there's the first thing that I had in mind. The second is the sacrifice, and we've talked about on the show. I don't think we're saying anything that anyone doesn't know at this point. The sacrifice essentially stills all the buy pressure that would be available otherwise for a chart to really pump, right? And so it's going to be really interesting to see how this bull run ends up finishing. Because like Corey said, if we don't know who it is, but whoever controls the sacrifice funds, if that position in ETH ends up being worth an obscene amount of money and it's bridged over and some of it's used to pump the bejeebus out of the ecosystem, I think a lot of people are going to be feeling very euphoric, just like Corey's saying. And is there some sort of cap this time on that sacrifice? Because if there was a cap, I would participate very differently, because you wouldn't still all the buy pressure from that thing. So there's that, but also another thing to consider. And once again, I'm not a big advocate of this one, but it is something to consider. Where is the money better in Richard's hands, or whoever controls the sacrifice funds? Is it better in his hands and what he does with it in the ecosystem, or is it better in the community's hands doing whatever they're going to do? I prefer my money to be in my hands. So that's how I feel about it. But if Richard really does turn, or whoever's in charge of the sacrifice funds turns that money into a ton with ETH and then uses it to come over here and pump bags insanely, there's something to be said about it. So there's
that second best option. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few factors to consider.
So what do you think, Norbert? What's up, brother? How you been, man?
Yeah, all good, all good. Just arrived at the gym. Nice to see you guys.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for joining in. We love it. We love that you're keeping healthy at the gym, man. You got to live a long time,
Yeah, I'm trying. My aim is 120. Well, let's see if my
That's
blood is
good.
gonna last that long.
That's good. I didn't know how to. Mine was 120. I didn't know I had to up my my aim there. I got to meet. I got to at least match yours at the very most.
The thing is, one of the reasons I want to live until 120, because the first 45 years of my life, I kind of wasted it. Like I said to you before, guys, I made so many bad decisions financially. I'm not in the best position, and so much out there to explore and enjoy. And when you are an average employee, like I am myself right now, it's not much fun. You're trying to meet demands and finish work and things like that. Trying to squeeze the most of it. Not complaining, I have a nice and comfy life in London, but yeah, it could be significantly better. Regarding the sacrifice, it all depends on when that's gonna happen. And I would absolutely participate. And the reason being is that if we start heading towards the bullish kind of time, then maybe that's going to be the best price ever to get into that thing, and then it might drop after the bull market, but you might never going to see those prices again, what the sacrifice price would be for that extra bullet.
Assuming he were to launch in the bull market, though, Norbert, I mean, look how long it took him to launch these other two products. Two more weeks turned into 2 more years, and so
but, yeah, that's a very good point you're making. But obviously, Richard is about just like all of us here, all about. I'm sorry, speaker. All about becoming better and doing more, and proving himself to deliver better things for us. So
that's the question. Did Richard?
So probably next time he's gonna be trying to avoid all those annoyances what we experienced before, like that saying something, delays and stuff like that. Probably he's gonna aim for a more seamless experience when. Especially if we head into the bull market, it's not gonna be time for, the front end is still not working. Like that's the thing with products I've seen recently coming out on Pulse Chain. I'm nobody, guys. Don't take me wrong. I never delivered anything on this Pulse Chain. I never built anything. I'm a no one. But if we want to be someone and if we want to create things which are appealing to other people, I'm sorry, if the project comes out and your front end is not working for 2 weeks, it's just not going to cut it. It's not good enough, because people come, they're trying to do it, they're trying to use it, and it's like, oh, I can't see my balance. Oh, they said they're going to do an Oracle, but it's not even halfway through. These kind of things, you can't do that. Like imagine if Tesla comes out and they say, oh, we're going to make a whatever, they had problems before. Don't take me wrong. When he failed so many times with the rackets, but he had already a strong company behind him, which was like, okay, so he delivered once already. Maybe this one is struggling at the moment, but he put something down on the table. Coming out, yeah, I want to do this, I'm gonna be so good. And then you're trying to use it. Imagine the Teslas comes out and you can't drive them because the screen doesn't work or you cannot turn it on. The Tesla stocks would have tanked like significant. That's the thing what we experience with Porsche at the moment, unfortunately, on many front ends, which I don't think is ideal, but it is what it is.
Right. No, Norbert makes a really good point. Yeah, like when, because Richard's talked about a wallet like since back before he launched Pulse, So have they been developing and working on that this whole time? And he hasn't said much about it. Like he could theoretically launch that here in the bull if he had one ready. And in fact, how might that change your guys' strategy if he launched one and things are rocking and rolling, money's bridged over, you got a 10x on your core coins, and then he's like, hey guys, here's the wallet, let's do it. What would that look like? It's for me, I'm with you, Corey. Even in the bull run, it might be different. I'd want to see something like, I'd feel a lot better about something like that if it was a capped sacrifice. You didn't steal all the buy pressure. If you steal the buy pressure, like
it's hard to get any new buyers. Now, I guess there's something to be said that, if you launch in the bull market when retail's flooding in, you might get some new buyers, assuming that the product comes out while we're still in the bull, to Norbert's point. Then I could see maybe it working out. Yeah, and a cap would help tremendously.
Yeah. I've got the contrarian view. I'm going to go full contrarian. I am a big data guy. I love analytics, and I like the proof is in the pudding, and I like things to be proven to me that they work. Sacrifices have not worked, so I am just not interested.
That's not the contrarian. That's everyone else's. Everyone, I guarantee if you did a poll right now on Twitter, everyone would be what you're saying right now.
Yeah, contrarian to the show.
Contrarian
up to this point. How about? Okay. And so, and I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking a wallet, but it just has not been shown to me that it works. What has shown to me that works is playing a little bit in the meme coin sector. Now, of course, I'm not going heavy in that, but like at least as of late, man, that's where I've made money. And so, and here's another point. I think this has been mentioned a couple of times. It's like, well, if you got in, you sack for this, maybe you get the best price ever, and it never comes back. Well, that goes back to the this time is different narrative, and it's not. It's not.
I like
different,
that part. I like that.
It hasn't been different, and like
nothing this time is different. Yeah,
I had the same thought about Pulse and PulseX and every other sacrifice, and man, this is going to be amazing. It's going to go up a 10x immediately, and then it just gets absolutely murdered, and it hasn't come back to the sack rate. And I mean, it touched it for a little bit, and here we are. But anyway, yeah, I'm not knocking it. If it comes out, I think it's good news. I likely will play my chips in other things.
And that's a really great point, Gingerbread Man. The good thing is that if he does do a sacrifice, it's going to pump our bags, because if we, as people who've already done it before, choose not to, the new people are going to come in and they're going to get their lesson potentially of buying, getting into a sacrifice and maybe going through what we went through. So it could pump the price of all the products.
It would,
and that would help all of us. So there would be a good aspect to it. And the KG's wallet, I like that wallet, the Internet Money wallet. And Richard has also commented on that, which helped the price pump at one point. And I could see probably Richard's wallet would have something like fees and
dividends,
So dividends, etc. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like the Internet Money wallet. I have it. I don't use it. I like the usability of a Rabby wallet better. So what I do is I go in to claim my dividends whenever, I want to grab my Pulse from there, which is not a lot. Like it's a trickle that's always coming in, which is nice. So I have it. But I like the Rabby wallet, man. That thing is smooth on Pulse Chain, man. It never hiccups. It never gives me. They actually updated the wallet for Pulse Chain when Pulse Chain launched. I didn't even know this information in the early days. And so they're one of the first Pulse Chain native wallets is the Rabby wallet.
Do you get any stuck transactions over there? Anything like that?
Not on Rabby.
Really?
Not on Rabby. No, that thing is smooth like butter.
Huh. I'll have to go check that out. I haven't used it. I've still been on MetaMask, and it is.
I dumped MetaMask. My brother.
It's all right for me, but yeah, you run into problems. You're like, this is stupid.
Oh, it's frustrating. My brother called me one night. It was like freaking like 10 o'clock at night. And he's like, dude, he goes, I found the next greatest thing. I was like, what? He goes, like the Rabby wallet. You got to try this. And I did, man. And I never looked back. I was like, holy crap. He is right. This thing is amazing on Pulse Chain. You'll see what I mean, Dane. Just go ahead and play with it. Just play with it. You'll see it. You'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, while you were talking, sorry to interrupt, but you know what would really cure the sacrifice blues from all of us for Pulse and Pulse Chain?
Green candles.
Price up.
That would do it, and an airdrop of the token, the wallet token, to all the people who sacrificed.
I agree, but then you got to have all the Jeters cheat.
Yeah,
all the Jeters would cheat it.
I just want a 10x.
Just pump the bag.
Yeah, 10x would do. Then I could write my resignation. To whom it may concern.
A 10x would be would facilitate a resignation there, Norbert. A 10x.
10x, like I said, I put in 30 grand, which is like nearly 40 grand in dollar value.
Well, so what? 10x. I know, but so a 10x from price now could do it for you, or a 10x from your cost.
10x from now. 10x from now, it would be like, yeah, that could do too.
That would do. Okay.
It would put a bit of pressure on me to go deeper on trading and become more consistent, and then fill up that gap of an extra income, and then the two of them together. That would.
I might fire myself from my own business, man. Come to Puerto Rico with you guys.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you see, like the list is growing every day. So if you're an employee, there is a good old say that. If you work for someone else, you don't have enough time to make money, and it's so true. I mean, not make money, but Andrew Tate is saying you don't make money. Only the government can make money. You can only take money, because if you think about it, we always take from someone else. If you trade, if you invest, someone else has to come behind you to pay a higher price. So then you take the money from that person. So it makes a lot of sense what he's saying. Makes a lot of sense saying, but yeah. Well, let's sacrifice. And again, if he is, no, let me say it differently. Richard is an extremely smart individual, and I strongly believe that if he does another sacrifice, then he would go through all the mistakes. He would collect all the things which didn't work out well, which could have been different. You made an extremely good points. Cap. Like it's not like, if you give me more money, I give you a 4x, because then you're giving control to a small, narrow group of people who got a lot of money. And, if someone has like hundreds of millions of dollars and then they bring in, 10, 20, 50 million, they become like a very powerful players. And those guys only need like 2x.
Richard did that on purpose. I don't think in Richard's mind, if you sat down Richard and he was honest, I don't think he did this. I don't think he would say anything in the sacrifice was wrong. I think he'd say it was designed perfectly to do exactly what I wanted. He wanted to incentivize whales. He talked about this before, right? He says he wants to incentivize whales because whales are everything, and you're ideally hoping for good ones. So I don't think he would change that. And he wanted the money. He wanted money, and he wanted more hex supply off the market, and that's exactly what it accomplished. Now, the sacrifice experiment is still out, whether or not it was successful. In my opinion is I want to see how do things go this bull run. Now, sure, my cost basis could be better had I put the money in at a better time, right? Instead of sacrifice. Sure, I get it, right? The real question is, in my mind, is the community. I think these are facts. The community would not have taken that money. They would have dumped their hex. They would have not put it in ETH to potentially bring it back and pump the ecosystem. If you leave the money in the hands of the community, I think a lot of it would have been squandered, would have been sent off to freaking scammers and meme coins and all that crap. So the verdict is still out, in my opinion, because I think that a lot of that money, I would rather it be Richard be in charge of it. on the premise that he brings it back to bring Pulse Chain success and glory. So that's yet to be seen. I think that'll be really interesting to determine. But I will not be the one giving my money away next time to an uncapped sacrifice. Thank you very much.
Well, and to your point, Dane, I want to talk just a little briefly about that too. And maybe I'm wrong, but I quite frankly don't think Richard really cares about looking back and all this other stuff. I think he just wants to move forward and he wants to have glory. Maybe his team looks back. I don't know, but he's got way more important things to do than go and look back and all the receipts. I think certainly he's going to do some of that. And there are bigger players that he'll go look back to, but I'm not necessarily disagreeing, but I think there are bigger and better fish to fry instead of going to the pond. He wants to go swim in the ocean with the sharks and the whales, man.
I think if Richard did an ink sacrifice, that Brizology would be with the number one person on the leaderboard there. He's an ink
I like
max.
sacrifices. I think they have a lot of positive upsides.
Give us your opinion on it.
You know, for one, to me, I think the first one is when you do a sacrifice and the coin founder collects like millions of dollars, I think it gives them a reason to not rug the project. For one, like, hey, they got all this money. Two, it could be used in a multiple couple of ways to really help keep the project alive. Like when people start selling, the sacrifice money could be used to buy back the coins, keeping the price up and preventing like a death spiral. And then also, as you can see with the sacrifice funds being moved into Ethereum, if it really buys the bottom of another asset that is going to do well, you can essentially vampire attack that asset and bring the funds back over to your asset, and it costs you literally nothing because you're just hedging or leveraging other people's money. It's like, I don't know why.
I think that's a great point, Briz. It's kind of like borrowing from the bank, except you borrowed from the community in this scenario.
Yeah.
You grew the money and then you brought it back and dispersed it in a way. If that happens, it's an interesting way to think.
If that happens.
When?
Because I don't know why, but apparently everybody just can't come to a consensus to all buy the fucking same thing. Everyone's like, no, I want to create something new that everyone will buy. Then I'll be rich. Instead of going like, if we all just buy the same coin and we don't sell, we can just all be rich together. But apparently nobody wants to do that. I mean, it's simple. We all buy Bitcoin, all right, guys?
Yeah.
If we all bought Bitcoin, we could have $1 million Bitcoin.
And wait until green candles come back into Pulse Chain. Then everyone's going to be flooding in and rebuying back the one thing that they sold to go and, do their meme coins or launch their own project or whatever they did. It's just right now we're in a second bottom. And so in this second bottom, we see Matty Allen launch a coin. We see, everybody's and their mom is launching a coin right now.
No, and somebody launched it for him, just to be clear, right?
All right. Well, just so he won't get in trouble. Sure. Why not? We'll say that.
Yeah, but I also don't think that you can blame them, right? Like everyone thought if you could go back and you ran a poll and you said, hey, we would be under the sacrifice price on PulseX and we'd be under the sacrifice price on Pulse, everyone would say you were a liar. They would say there is no scenario where that will occur. None. 0% chance. I would say that, right? If you went back in time and like, a year after, we're still going to be underwater. No one would say that was reality, but here we are. And it's a scenario where I don't think you can help but like blame any of these guys for trying to do something more interesting than like sit around and buy Hex and Pulse and PulseX and Ink.
That's what I do a lot of times, Dane.
When that stuff hasn't moved, like it's barely done anything. And when you
this week,
when you're in it, but when you're in an ecosystem, when you're in crypto, where you can look at 1,000 different places. Now, it doesn't mean that you could have caught them, but when you can look on Dex Screener and it feels like people are making money everywhere else but your main holdings, you can't blame them but to want to try and do some different things. And I think that it's twofold. I think on the one hand, like Briz is saying, it's not great for price action. If everyone just bought one thing, then it would be better for everybody. But on the other hand, it also creates a unique ecosystem where, like a lot of people don't want to fricking buy Hex. A lot of people don't like it. Like Donovan, DIY Investing, he said it from the beginning. He's like, I never liked Hex. But now he's over here buying Pulse, or he's buying
Pulse. Yeah.
He likes PulseX, yeah.
And they launched a token over here. Like, you create this ecosystem where there's more draw now. And I think that that's better long-term, where you can have different communities within the larger ecosystem of where people can find a place that they fit. And
that's the Reed law.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have come over just for like Hex before, for instance. So yet to be seen. I don't know. I'm with you, Briz. There's some negative externalities, also some positive ones. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
I'll give another negative externality. The biggest flaw with the sacrifice model is that basically everyone who would buy after the coin launched has essentially bought via the sacrifice.
Yeah. We have a bag. A big bag.
And so it's just like, all right, where's the new money coming from? And that's the biggest problem with the sacrifice. I would say Richard could do another sacrifice, but what might be better, in my opinion, is if he were to make a coin for the wallet and do like an internet money wallet type model, is maybe for every like ink you send in.
I knew it was going to be ink, Dane. I'm
just saying, if you send whatever, send one Pulse coin, one PulseX, one ink. I'm just saying, you send one coin over, you get one of the wallet coin.
And it's not a bad idea. Like if your vision is more than one or two bull cycles, right? Which I tend to think Richards is. I think Richards, he's said it before, right? He's here for glory. He's here to change the world. He's here to take over. He wants all that stuff. Well, then you've got to last, right? You've got to last like an ETH, like a BNB. I think BNB is going back to all-time highs. Like you've got to last, and you've got to be like one of those things. And in order to be able to do that, frankly, you need a lot of ammo to be able to go and do those types of things. That's one of the reasons BNB has been able to do so well, is the trading exchange generates so much fees that they have ammo, right, to go support that price chart. And we can talk about insider manipulation and things like that, sure, but it's one of the best price charts in all of crypto. And so what mechanisms can you use to have ammo to go, like Briz is saying, support price charts and do things of that nature? Well, if you can take money from the dummies and you could go and and support price charts that way, and you could create some more unique things with, how Briz is saying, you need supply off the market again. Like if you can remove Pulse and PulseX and Hex and Ink again from the market, have more control to be able to go and do whatever you want to do with it. I mean, there's a lot of validity in that respect, I think.
Well, and to Corey's point, he said, I'm still buying, the lows right now compared to any other time outside of the SEC FUD is the best time to buy the cores, man. So if you're bringing money in and you're not set up to a point where you like where you're at, man, you're getting a ton of bang for your buck. Even after it ran, I don't want to say it ran. It moved up 10% or 11% or whatever a couple days ago. Even still, it's like 4 zeros and a 5 or something like that. Like still, you get a great entry price to go and build. And of course, the name of the game is buy it when it's cheap and sell it when it's high. Well, gosh, it's cheap, man. It's real cheap.
Please, can I have some more?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and is also combined with the positivity of low liquidity. Somi made a good analogy on that one, that I think is like $1 million liquidity available for EHEX, about $6 million available for PHEX. Market can change so quickly in a jiffy, and that's why I kind of take my hat off to TE guys, but at the same time is, how to say this one? It doesn't make too much sense because people's emotions move in the market more than a order block on a chart. That happened in the past. Fair enough, that was an order block, okay. But there are so many other things involved in it. For example, today the gold dropped 3% in one day. People were selling gold like it was having a cholera or something, you know, like some disease. Oh, I don't want this gold anymore. So why not, man? You wanted it like 2,400 like 2 weeks ago. Today don't want it at all. So that's why this charting and all of these things and telling. But moving back to Richard wallet thing, just as a final thought. If you read his tweet, there is a lot of hints in it when he's saying that saving the people, you know, not to make mistakes, not to get scammed.
I saw that.
For me, that tweet is not about money. You know, he got so much money with the sacrifice. So this is like another building block for him in the house, you know, like building like a nice terrace for the guests when they come over, and you know, you hang out together and you eat and drink. For me, that's how I see the wallet itself, not to,
I mean, it can launch,
you know,
Norbert, without a sacrifice. He might launch it and be like, here you go, guys. By the way, there's no sack for this one. This is for the community, built by us for you. Here you go. By the way, there's a coin too.
Financial model is good because you get an extra source of income. So tokenize it and, you know, have some sort of utility. I all up for that because, you know, transaction fees. Look at MetaMask. They're charging like what, 1%, I think, or whatever on each transaction. Yeah, imagine if we do that, you know, with our thingy, you know, that would be beneficial. But to motivate the people and also give some hope for the people who gave trust for Richard back in the day, probably something that Visology was mentioning would be a good idea, that, okay, if you sacrifice for Pulse Chain, then, you know, according to your size or whatever, you get this much. You know, if you've done for both of them, Pulse and PulseX, I would give you, you know, like a double of that. You know, if you've been staking or if you were providing liquidity on whatever X amount of time, then you know what I mean. It could have a nice game theory, let's say. So,
I feel like something given has no value.
And yeah, that is the problem, Briz.
And then, like, you know, if you give me $10,000 worth of this wallet coin, I'm about to have 10,000 USDC in my wallet. You know, because I just know there's going to be a bunch of other people dumping it down, and then it's going to finally hit a floor, but that might not be for like another year or two from now, just because people are like, you know, I need to get some money out of this.
We don't have Jeets in our community. What are you talking about? Right?
When I was just going to say the same thing, that if that happened, I'd probably play it like a meme coin and sell it as it went up and buy it back when it was down. Honestly.
Yeah.
Good play that game.
Because I'm looking at the Earn and Flex tokens, and those are being given out to the people that sacrifice for Power City. Yeah. And I'm like looking at those things, and the prices just keep going down because people are getting them unlocked for basically for free. You just got to go claim it, and then just people are selling it, you know, because it's a free X amount of money, you know, every day. And so I have an idea. I'm like, I kind of wrote this down where I think we can get 10 million users within 3 years. And it's simply like if we got about roughly 10,000 people in the community, everybody needs to go on board 10 new people within the year. basically what that does is takes our 10,000 and it turns us into a community of 100,000. And if we can teach all those people to do 10 new people, and if we do this for everybody does this for at least 3 years, it goes from 10,000 to 100,000. And then by the end of the second year, you can go to 100,000, 100,000 to 1,000,000. And then by the end of the third year, it goes from 1,000,000 to 10,000,000. And that's
Can we
all
call
you
it
gotta do.
Can we call it Amway? Can we call it Amway, by the way?
Yeah, but you know, it's different though because we're not selling products. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The,
I
the
agree.
way the
I
way
agree.
Amway works is you have a manager and a sales team, and everything the sales team goes up to them, and then all the sales team become managers who have a bunch of sales guys, and it goes up and then up, and that's actually not even that is a pyramid scheme, but pyramid schemes are not illegal.
The Brizology doctrine.
It's the whole point of like the whole Amway and pyramid schemes. It's like as long as you don't mark up the price of the product more than like 78% or something from what the top guy is selling, everything's cool in the eyes of the law. But that's how we need to onboard people. We just need to get 10 new people a year. If you guys can all onboard 10 new people or just 30 people, just go onboard 30 people. That's all you got to do. Go
Dane and
onboard
Corey,
30
Dane and
people.
Corey
The
are
job is done.
slaying that game. Dane and Corey are
Yeah,
killing
they
it
are
in
the
that game.
masters.
So
We got over
appreciate
200
ya.
so far.
Let's go. Let's
Nice.
go.
We've done over 200.
Some
So-
people onboard more than others.
Well,
Some
doesn't it
people
depend
do more
on
heavy
how much
lifting
you put in?
for those who can't.
Doesn't it depend too on how much the people put in, those 10 people? I mean,
For sure.
Wouldn't it be better to get 100 people with 10 million each versus
1,000
people, 1,000 people with 100? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
In my opinion, I hate onboarding the super rich. I don't think they're good to onboard because those guys they're out within like a 2 or 3x if they
like Nick Cherry.
Yeah, if they moved any real weight, they're
Nick
out.
Cherry didn't even get a 2 or 3x.
Versus a little guy, he needs a 1,000x. He comes in with $1,000. All right, he makes 100x. He has $100,000. Cool. What's he gonna buy? A really nice car? You ain't gonna buy a house with that. You ain't quitting your job. You ain't moving to Monaco.
Yeah,
So
but that's
it's
the
like,
first step. That gives you the possibility to do whatever, not within reason, to do whatever you want with your free time because you're not dependent on um, a basic income of going to do a job for 9 hours a day, and plus you need to travel, at least half an hour to 45 minutes each way to that thing without traffic jams and stuff like that. So you see, and then you get home and do all the basic things, and then your day is gone.
And the last thing I'll
um,
say about it is that if we can get 10 million people all investing just $100 a month, bro, what is that? $1 billion a month?
That can happen. That's the point I wanted to make. You build it up brilliantly. If we want to do that, we need a smoother and easier way to get onto Pulse Chain. So the wallet could be like actually a really good part of that, because then you could connect a bank account to a wallet, transfer the money there straight away, and as soon as you're on the platform, you can do whatever you want. And then regarding the tokens, it's always dependent what functionality it has. Because if the token doesn't have any function, then you're not gonna buy. In certain cases, you buy it if it has a nice body part, a hairy body part on it, and like even without the function, we're still buying it as the chart shows. but majority of the tokens for
You'd
most
be
of the people
surprised at how many people buy a functionless fucking coin.
yeah,
Just
that's what I'm
'cause there's a
saying.
picture
Like
attached
body
to it.
parts, hairy body parts on a white piece of paper. Like, and people just going nuts about it. So
And that's also the problem with onboarding the poor people is that they start going for these like super gambling plays. They're like, look, man, I need this 1000x.
That is the
but that's
problem.
but that's like a junkie kind of mentality. Like I need another dose. Otherwise I'm not gonna make it to tomorrow.
And
It
that's what
sounds
I'm
like
saying.
too
I'm like,
desperate. Like
I'm like, dude, we got this beautiful gated community, and everyone's all, no, we need to let the junkies in. We need to let the graffiti artists in and all
Dane, I think you were muted.
Is my audio working? Can you hear me?
There you go.
yeah, now you're good.
I mean, you're right. You don't want to let the junkies into your home, right? They destroy everything. But also, like, if you have $100, like, who cares about a 10x, right? Who cares about a 100x? Like, you need to take bigger swings. You just have to, right? So how do you balance those things? I don't know. I'm with you, Briz. I think it'd be beautiful to have more onboarding. The fact of the matter is, green candles do the best onboarding. Like, it's so much easier, and we see it too. It's so much easier if you can point to a price chart and say, "Oh my gosh, look at what this thing did. Come and look at what's going on over here." Thank God for some of the meme coins, because people wouldn't want to freaking come over to Pulse Chain at all. I mean, what are you going to tell them? Oh, look, we did a 5x in Pulse, and now it's back to a bottom. Like, nobody wants to come over for that. They want to come over for things that are exciting. Look at this one that did 100x in 5 days. Look at now, sure, that's not the best behaviorally, but that's how people are programmed. They want things like that. This is crypto, like you can't go and try to market a so-so looking person in a sea of Victoria's Secret models and say, come and see this mediocre looking thing when everyone wants to go see the hot Victoria's Secret models. You know what I mean? Like, you have to
Have you seen the new Victoria's Secret ads?
But it's also
They're plus size.
We live in backwards world, man.
We do.
The fuck? What happened to the last 30 years, man?
Yes. Man, let me flip the script on the sentiment maybe a little bit. I think there's a lot of feeling now that like we're real bearish and all this sort of stuff. When you have Solana running, you got Ethereum that's pumping a whole bunch. You got BNB. I think even Base was like at the top 4 last I saw. And we're down, I don't know what we're down at 10 or less. I couldn't be more bullish on the idea that I'd much rather run sideways than be pumping right now. And then when the bull run comes, it's kind of muted for everybody else. And for us, it's freaking ripping. Like, I am so excited for that. I couldn't be more excited. I'm let the other guys run. That's exciting for them. The bull run isn't even here, though. I mean, like Solana yesterday, the 24-hour volume, I was talking with Dane with this yesterday. It was like $3 billion on Solana. And Pulse Chain was something around like 25 or 30 million. You just wait. You just wait till the end of this year, beginning of next year, middle of next year, and it is going to be a totally different story.
And then we can all sacrifice for the wallet.
Yeah,
right. I've said it before. When the wallet comes out and that sacrifice, it's going to be a top signal.
Oh,
yeah. That's very good.
Not necessarily. Depends on the timing. But at the same time, guys, imagine, okay, fair enough, like these things are pumping. I agree on it. It's fantastic that it's pumping. But look at it like, try to look at it like as an outsider. You never invested in Pulse Chain. You nothing to do with any Richard Hart tokens. And then you come outside and you see a shop full of hairy body parts, fruits all over, fluffy animals. Also, and then they're like, this is the best thing ever, man. And you have like hi-fi surround sound systems. You have like the fastest moving electric cars. You have like slot machines which could split money out left, right, and center. But then you tell the people, don't worry about all those things.
What coins are you?
Fiat, Fame, Hex, these are the things which in my eyes has functionalities and can do something. And on the other side, you have like someone comes up with again, don't take me wrong, you do whatever you want, fair enough, you created a token and you call it an orange token. you call it a milk token, and you tell the people, oh, hey, buddy, come over, man. It's so good. It's called milk. You know, you drink milk every day.
You got
buy
milk.
this thing, man, because this is so good, man. And then if I'm an outsider and you come to me with this kind of intro, let's say, to introduce me to the crypto world, and I would be like, what? You want me to?
I'm telling you that, Norbert.
Like
I think
10K in milk? Like I go down the corner, I get a pint of milk, you know, for a $5, you know, like.
But
what do
I
you want me
think
to
you're
do with
overthinking
this?
it. Did you guys see the video of the guy out? There's this
Yeah.
guy out. He was an interviewer, right? And he was interviewing people, and he's like, okay. And he had a picture of the dog with hat token, and he had a picture of Ethereum. He's like, okay, let me explain this to you. And he's explaining. He did a pretty good job of explaining Ethereum and all the functionality and the use case and the scalability and the speed. He did a pretty good job of explaining that. It's like, that is this one, or you have this token that's just a dog with a hat. Nothing else. It's just this picture. Which one would you buy? And they're like, probably the dog.
They all buy the dog.
They all buy the
All
dog.
of them.
Simplicity.
Yeah, the
But
simplicity.
it depends on the person. I mean, imagine
Most
if these
people
guys.
buy the dog.
Yeah,
But
most
most
people.
It
people
reminds
buy the
me of
dog.
the silver versus chocolate Mark Dice video. You guys ever see that one?
What is it?
Mark Dice. He's like he's on the beach. He's do you want this silver ounce or a chocolate bar? They're all, I'm taking the chocolate bar. No, what
That
am I gonna
is-
do with this?
No, you get.
They're like, what am I gonna do with this silver coin? Like, I can't spend it at a store. You know, like I'm
You
not
know what
sure
you
if
can get with the chocolate, and you could get it right now.
It's
Like that's
instant gratification.
yeah.
Okay,
So
let me try to address the issue on a different way. You have a person coming in with a $1,000, and it's kind of his life depending on this $1,000. If he
He's
doesn't
buying
make his
dick
hun-
with butt.
Exactly, but I get to that point. I get to the hairy body part. Don't worry about it. So if the guy comes in with $1,000, his life depends on it. You know, if he doesn't do 100x, then you know, for him it's end of the world, and he's never ever gonna touch crypto again. Obviously, he needs to first of all he needs to buy Ethereum on a centralized exchange. Then he needs to send this to a wallet. Then he needs to wrap that Ethereum. Then he needs to send it over to the other thingy, and then he has to unwrap it, and then he needs to. So it's already a lot of steps involved, yeah? After that, he's got some money left. He buys some a basket of fruit and then a hairy guy, yeah? And then he calls it a day, and he's like, yes, I'm in, and it's gonna be just fine, you know, I'm gonna be the next millionaire, or at least I'm gonna do my 100x on the thingy. Let's say he does some money on these things, and he sells it with a decent profit. Do you think that that person is going to last till the next bear market? Or he's going to start chucking money left, right, and center on papayas and whatever other fruits and maybe fluffy animals and whatnot? And what is going to end? What is going to take us? You know, like we need another idiot who can associate with fruits. You know, hey, call your friends. I heard that he likes banana. You just bring him over here. It's how I'm gonna onboard these people. Or you hang out with like skateboarding parks where people are like, yeah, let's have another banana. You know, like just ask your mother for $1,000. You know, like it doesn't make sense. What you're doing, guys, is different because you're targeting like wealthy individuals. But then, you know, I just can't picture it that you're gonna sit down with like a property investor who's got like 15 houses, you know, and he's gonna make like hundreds of thousands of dollars a week, and then you tell him like, hey buddy, buy a pint of milk, and let's call it a day.
Dude, in our community, man, we have some heavy hitters in there that, you know, they own apartment buildings. I mean, and they're freaking in there DJing, man, and they're buying the freaking meme coin of the day more so than I do. You know, we got some guys in there, man. You'd be surprised. They're very sophisticated.
But do you tell them about fiat and famous and all this?
Oh, yes. Yes, we did all, but it doesn't move. So they get bored and they dump it. They dump it because it doesn't move.
Yeah. The utility doesn't matter if the price chart does nothing. And that's everything. That's what everybody's here for. That's what you're in any investment for, is to make money. And if you don't get the feeling like your investment is going to make you money,
they're going to dump it.
You sell that shit. And that's so important to be aware of. And you see it here with crypto too, And that's why you get the crypto charts, right? You see these parabolic runs and you see the sell-off, and then you get these rounded bottoms because you ran out of the people that felt like they weren't going to make any money on this thing, and you're left with the people that either believe or they're like, nah, if it does something, it does something. And that's all you're left with. And then the price charts can run. And so like the behavior is not going to change. We're talking about changing human instincts and natures. Those are never going to change. And so what we can do is we can take those as those are facts. That's reality. And what can we do to try to play a positive role within those frameworks? And that's one of the things Richard tried to do with Hex. And once again, verdict is still out, in my opinion. He gave them something where they didn't need to trade. They didn't need to spend all day in front of their computer. They could make yield. Unfortunately, the price got absolutely destroyed for a number of different factors that could be reclaimed. And I thought it was a really good step in that direction. I think Richard will continue to refine those ideas to be aware of human behavior, but also give tools where you're not spending all day squandering your money on memes either. So.
Norbert, we used to only shield utility tokens plus the blue chips. We still shield the blue chips. I love the blue chips. I'll never stop shielding those. But we used to shield Fame, Fiat, Power City, like all the stuff that, I mean, I sacrificed for most of those. And they just don't move. And I don't know if they will this cycle. And if they do, it won't be towards the end of the cycle. Like we need a lot more adoption and a lot more retail coming in, and a lot more usage on the chain, in my opinion, before something like an Aave fork really takes off and goes to the moon. Right? We don't have the amount of people that Ethereum has. So I just don't know if I believe we're going to see it, but will it happen this cycle on the utility stuff? I don't know, man. I really don't know. Where I know I'm going to hold the blue chips. I feel good about that. I feel really good about that because of Richard. Like I believe in Richard, and I feel good about that. But man, I've got bags of the other stuff, and so it's just an interesting thought process to go through, and you got to kind of let the market teach you. And I've been taught through this, this process, and I still love the utility tokens. Don't get me wrong; those are my favorite because I'm a real estate guy, man. I love stuff that makes passive income. I love that stuff as use case and like all this. That's what interests me. But you know what interests me more is fucking number go up, man. Number go up. That interested me more than the passive income stuff. I love the passive income stuff, but I want number go up. Damn it! And so, like, where do you go and what do? You got to learn what the market gives you.
Well, and the reality of the situation is this, right? Green candles change everything, and that's the end of the story. Who cares about anything else? We just need some green.
What are you going to say, Briz?
I was going to say, I wanted to point something out that, we're trying to teach people how to be better market participants, right? And one of the way, and here's the thing is that Richard is trying to teach them that, and he even launched Hex to do it.
Yeah.
But, I got to call a spade. Dane and Corey, you're teaching people the wrong things. You guys are like, am I going to stake ever again? Fuck, no, I'm not going to stake. No way I'm going to lock my money in this system and get rammed up, again. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to keep liquid. I'm going to be the dumper.
I market cycle stake my Hex. I have stakes, but they're coming all on this cycle.
But the whole reason for like Richard and the staking mechanism, it's like, hey guys, this is a way to put your money in, and then we're gonna make sure you keep your money in here by hammering you if you try to take it out early, if you don't fulfill your promise.
Hey, this is great. Paul Sachs is coming on, and he made some interesting comments in the stream in the chat about the wallet, and it makes me wonder if maybe he and Richard Heart are working together on putting a wallet together.
But like to Briz's point, it just, I'm telling you guys, I think it's such an interesting thing. We could talk about how things could be, or we could talk about how things actually are and how human nature actually functions. In the end of the day, people want things that perform. It doesn't matter if something like I think Maddie Allen is a great example in the community of a lot of beautiful tools and things that he talks about. Like I love how Maddie talks about changing our behavior and doing good things for ourselves, right? Not spending all your time in front of a computer, but like nobody uses the time pays me because it's not exciting. It goes against the things that people want in human nature. It gives no dopamine hits. And that's human nature. Those are facts that'll never change. And so we can't change that piece of human behavior. What you can do is try to give them tools and then learn from the market. If you wanted to incentivize the staking behavior, then you have to make it so that price chart doesn't dump 99%. When it dumps 99%, everyone says, forget this. I'm not doing that again. Like those are just facts. You know what I mean?
I agree. That's kind of why I like the staking models, because it gives the founder a whole bunch of cash to prevent what we're witnessing. And in my opinion, I think what we're witnessing,
the staking model.
The sacrifice model. I meant the sacrifice. But I think what we're currently witnessing is all part of a plan. I think.
I do too. We're just gonna move
down. Yeah, in my opinion, I think when the price does skyrocket, I think Richard will be able to point to the low prices.
I agree with that.
Man, there was your choice for a year. You cannot say you didn't have the opportunity that the sacrifice guys got, because you actually have a better opportunity than the sacrifice guys are getting.
Yep, I agree 100%.
Hey, before I forget about it, I'm gonna have to go here in a short while, but the PTP token, the Pulse Trailer Park token, that is gonna get an airdrop on Monday.
Are you shilling, Frank? Are you on here shilling?
No, well, sort of. I bought full disclosure.
Come on, our show to shill, man.
But I heard about it. I asked about it on one of B-Root streams, and because I was like, what happened to that coin? And he's like, it dumped. And I said, well, what is going to come back? And he's like, yeah, actually they're doing an airdrop, and it's going to be of a different type of token, and it's going to be a real world asset type of token. So, but they already did the snapshot on it. So I'm not shilling it. I'm just telling people that have the pre-dumpage or pre-snapshot, whatever, to look in your wallet on Monday at some point.
Frank has 1% of the supply in his wallet.
I'm a whale, but I don't really share that with everybody.
When the trailer park thing rugged on everyone, the only thing I can think of was, someone calling us a bunch of trailer park trash rugged.
I know.
Who would have saw that coming?
That's pretty funny.
Who could have seen that coming?
Yep. Agreed.
So this might be what they call a reload scam. So be careful.
Be careful.
Yeah, that's another thing, guys. I don't know how you do these airdrops and stuff like that, but sometimes a message pops up on my MetaMask, unclaimed tokens and things. There is no way that I'll click on anything, man. Ever. I don't care how much. And shout out to Miguel, Dollar Cost Crypto. He was saying that, guys, you're just picking up pennies front of the train, it doesn't make any sense. It's fine, but I don't know. I never click on anything. But at the same time, guys, I'm not sure where we're heading, but most of us in this room, we've been introduced to Pulse Chain through these core tokens and through the utility tokens. That's why we are here. Hex, Pulse Chain, Famous, Fiat, all these things. We're not here because of milk and banana and whatnot. So if that's the case that we are changing rapidly just to make some money, I'm sure. The way I see it, that crypto is doomed. It's not gonna last for too long. Maybe we're gonna have one more cycle. We can, because after a while, what you're gonna give to the people? A banana with the tits?
Yes.
Or like a cat with a house,
with
a house on the back, or what's gonna be the latest, and another thing is like, the problem is with the whole world, as long as people participate, as long as people are buying those products on the market, doesn't matter if they're full of chemicals and preservatives and whatnot, the producers, they're gonna do those things. So it's the individual's choice what they do with their money and how they spend it and who they interact with and how they onboard people, for example, in our case. So if we gonna start chasing these different things, which are, in my opinion, just useless crap, then how long we gonna last? What's gonna happen to Push?
All right,
Are we
guys.
gonna be
Now
like
that
a
Fast
cheap
Abdul
Chinese
is
toy
here,
shop?
I want to hear you guys shit talk sacrifice models.
What? Because Fast Abdul's in freaking Hawaii, or maybe you're here in Puerto Rico. I'm not sure. Wearing a diamond-studded hat, looks like a Louis Vuitton shirt. I don't know, with some new sunglasses.
I don't have a shirt on, man.
Where did all that ETH go? And Hex and Pulse. Where did the Pulse go? Fast Abdul.
When can we see our balance?
They're fantastic. Why are we complaining about sacrifices? No, I feel the pain. I've felt the pain many times myself, and that's why we did ours a little bit different. I can't see the wallet sacrifice being very popular right now.
Not right now.
It would be I'd feel like that was a top signal if people were FOMOing into the RH wallet sacrifice, particularly with his marketing that basically says, if you're stupid, this is the wallet you need. I think, yeah, that's a top signal.
Agreed.
But that's going to be the sacrifice that gives everyone the 30,000x return, though. The one that no one wants to get into.
It could be. Yeah, if I looked at sacrifice and it's got a week left and there's only 100K in there, you're like, yeah, I might be FOMOing in, right? But if it has $40 billion, then maybe not.
The whole entire world has sacrificed. We have to onboard aliens at that point to try to get any kind of buy pressure.
Yeah. And I think in the long run, and we probably don't have enough data to actually look back on these things and say which one was good and which one wasn't.
Not yet.
But we have some data, and I think we could say the overfunded things were probably that, we're assuming everything didn't rug that we're talking about, but the overfunded things that received too much money for what they were, the participants did not do as well as the ones that were not overfunded or ideally underfunded.
Yes.
So, and we're talking about sacrifice, so it's points and all that stuff. But, I think we can see a correlation between the how well the initial users did in the first 3 to 6 months versus the amount of money that was raised in their sacrifice.
Yep. That's exactly it, man. I could think of right off the top of my head 5 that I sacked where I feel like they were overfunded and I got smashed. I got absolutely smashed.
And now we know, right? Like now we have that information, and going forward, if there was something else, and that is how the Pulse Chain raises. That's the Pulse Chain ICO. So people are angry at the word, but it's really a word. And so going forward, if I see something that's underfunded and it's a known team and all that stuff, maybe I'll participate. I'm not against it. It's just, I don't want to go into any more $55 million sacrifices for, something that I now understand could be accomplished for a much smaller number. But back then I didn't know, right? It's that FOMO, you're like, oh, it was actually seemed better. It's like, there's so much money in here. I need my money to be in there too. It's like, it's chasing green candles. Somehow, in reverse, right?
FOMO, yeah. It's like, oh, Godwell sacrifice. I got to get my money in there now. Godwell's in there. Yeah. It's like, no, it should have been the opposite. I should have been running when Godwell was in there because now he's got all the economic energy in that protocol.
It's not an intelligence test either because a lot of smart people sacrificed. It's,
maybe none of us are intelligent, Frank.
Yeah, but it looks like the intelligent people are not doing well at the moment. Only the dumb ones who are buying these other things.
Yeah, I think there are some exceptions to that, Norbert. We have seen overall, performance by people that are in some utilities thing, but it is meme season. So I think we have to look at those things separately to some degree, right? Just because a utility thing that you sacrifice for isn't doing well does not mean that sacrifice was a scam, right? It's just not there. It's not their time.
Maybe we should.
Yeah, hopefully it's gonna come.
I'll tell you guys about my secret coin I've been accumulating in the green room. I'm not going to mention it on air.
Oh
I don't
boy,
want people to-
secret coin.
I
It's
don't
the
want
ink
people to accumulate it while I am.
I already know it's the ink token.
Ooh.
Oh, that one we know already. That
All
is
really quick
lying.
until we pop off here. It's about time to pop off soon.
What's up,
Hey, Paul.
Paul?
What's going on, boys?
Calling the
Always
top
make
of
it
the
to the
show.
end.
Yeah, top signal, right?
You're the new Brizology, Paul.
I don't know what's going on. Every time I leave work, if I think my phone connects to my car, Android Auto is like, no, you're not getting no internet signal if you go on the fucking StreamYard.
Well, you sound way better on the mic, anyways, man. That's a good mic.
Thank you. EOS was remember everybody was looking at EOS last time and saying, oh, look, they freaking raised $3 billion. They got a
$4
whatever.
billion.
Okay, yeah, see. So
I
that's
thought
why
that was
everybody
a
aped in.
CIA
You had Richard
funded
streaming all the
project.
time. You had nonstop FOMO from him. Like it had just done.
EOS, he did a lot of streaming for a sacrifice.
No, well, EOS was famously raised in 2017 near the top of the market.
Right, but wasn't he part of that? Wasn't he part of that group?
No.
No, he
Richard?
wasn't. No, he wasn't part of it. He was in that cycle, but he wasn't officially part of it.
You mentioned it as like an example. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't think there was much more beyond that.
No, I was just
Well,
I stated earlier.
because the way EOS was launched is the same way, kind of like how Hex was launched. It was over like every day you could put money in for.
Oh,
an
okay, like
entire
a Dr.
year.
Amplifier type deal.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, the wallet will have a utility. The token will have some type of utility, like stake so much of it, you'll get 20% off of your inflows or what you take out, so you'll pay less in fees. That's obvious. That's a pretty standard model with a lot of them now. But like Sebastian Hopper over on Twitter for I can't remember what network it was for, but putting a VPN natively on the wallet. He just released something from his company for I can't remember what it was for, which network it was on. But you know, the world gets to be, it's going down a dark path right now. I mean, war drums are beaten. So the more we go down this path, I bet, you know, they just everybody needs to remember the narrative hasn't been spun right to affect you, but it will, and you'll sacrifice with green candles.
I agree. Right. I agree 120%, man, especially when the green candles are back and everyone's feeling euphoric. They quickly forget what red candles felt like.
Remember, we just saw this like 18 months ago. We had negative interest rates and savings on like CDs. So like, even though crypto will be regressing, it is not going away. Like, people will still come here for 20 to 50%, let alone 100%.
Agreed.
Yeah, for
100%.
sure.
Yep.
We're all gonna make a terrible mistake someday soon.
Not you, Fast Abdul. You're like in Puerto Rico or Hawaii drinking a freaking Mai Tai on the beach with a diamond-studded hat and Louis Vuitton sunglasses.
Yeah.
You must tip the waitress as well. I see random drinks all the time.
I'll tell you the truth, guys. I'm all in on the freaking pulse chain. Right. So, you know, I'm going to do everything I can to pump the pulse chain,
and we appreciate it, sir.
RH tokens, along with the other, you know, what I consider to be blue chip protocols, but also I'm hoping to be able to influence the meme communities to meet me in the middle on utility and you know, meme-ness. I think there's a win there.
I like that. Oh, that's great. Well, thanks for you guys joining on today. Thanks for you guys coming up on the panel. It's a blast to have you guys. Those of you on the show, we appreciate you. Paul jumped in here at the very end to be able to hear about Briz's secret coin in the green room. Thanks for coming in, Paul.
Wow, Paul.
Ink X, is it Ink X or Ink 2? Ink 2?
Cool, you guys. Have a great day.
Smash the likes, hit the subscribes. Peace.
All the best.
Auf Wiedersehen.